Conventional agriculture produces a loss of 24 billion tons of fertile soil every year. This is equivalent to more than 3 million truckloads of soil being loaded every day. Most people believe that the solution to soil degradation is to replace chemical fertilizers with organic fertilizers, but this actually has nothing to do with the real problem. The biggest cause of soil degradation, do you know what it is? It's not integrating trees with your crops. If you understand what I'm going to show you in this video, you can save hundreds of dollars in external inputs. Plus, you'll be able to produce your own healthy family basket with minimal effort. To understand this, let's first travel back in time. All your life you've been told that the Amazon is a virgin forest, an untouched sanctuary of nature. But in reality, it was the most sophisticated orchard in the world, designed by humans for thousands of years. In 1542, when Francisco de Orellana first navigated the Amazon River, he described something that seemed impossible. Vast cities, millions of people, orchards stretching for miles. Historians thought he was exaggerating, but now we know he was right. Using laser technology, airplanes have uncovered giant geoglyphs, perfect roads, circular plazas, and garden cities buried beneath the jumble. The Amazon was no virgin forest. It was the most sophisticated agricultural engineering project in human history. Up to 5 million people lived there before 100, not as invaders of nature but as its architects. They created something called Terra Preta, black earth that they produced themselves. They mixed charcoal, crushed ceramics, and organic remains to create the most fertile soil on the planet. The incredible thing is that this soil is still more productive than any modern fertilizer. 500 years later, these civilizations didn't cut down the forest. They improved it. They strategically planted chestnut trees, cocoa trees, and tropical fruits. They created edible forests that looked completely natural. But then the Europeans arrived. Within 50 years, 90% of the Amazon population had been wiped out by diseases like smallpox. All this ancient knowledge about how to live in harmony with the forest was lost. Nature reclaimed the garden cities and the world forgot they ever existed. What we call the virgin Amazon is actually a forest that grew on the ruins of the most ecologically advanced civilization in history. These people achieved something we have not been able to: create abundance without destroying the planet. They fed millions of people while growing the forest. This proves that trees work. But do you think this only applies to tropical forests like the Amazon? Or could it also apply to dry and degraded climates? Imagine trying to farm in a place almost as dry as the Sahara, less than 200 millimeters of rain per year, just degraded and abandoned. Quite a challenge. But this man turned that desert into a forest that provides food all year round. He lives in Pafarna, Bahia, in the Brazilian semi-arid region. For generations his family practiced the traditional practice: head down, burn, plant corn. One year it rained 400 millimeters, another only 100. The crops failed constantly, but he questioned everything since he was a child. Why cut down thousands of species to plant just one? In 1999, everything changed. He received an invitation to a seminar on polyculture in the semi-arid region. What struck him were not the techniques, but the image of a family with a plentiful table, an abundant meal. That was what he wanted for his children. He was the first to sign up on New Year's Eve. While everyone was celebrating, he was planting in the rain. Today, after 25 years, his hectare and a half is a complete ecosystem. It produces vegetables, fruits, grains, honey, meat, milk, and timber every day. His system generates a steady income, not just an annual harvest. The most incredible thing about it is that it does all this without any type of fertilizer. The trees create their own compost, protect from the wind, provide strategic shade, and feed the bees. But there's a problem. If you don't know how to manage the trees well, your garden will not prosper. If you have trees on your land, you've probably been told to cut them down so you can plant crops because nothing grows under trees. Even cocoa, pineapple, and coffee, which are shade ground, will tell you that they grow best in full sun. But there's something that confuses a lot of people. You can grow anything you want under the shade of trees, even the things you think need more sun. Let me explain. Usually, we come to a plot of land with trees and cut everything down. We leave the ground completely bare to plow and plant. But here's the problem. When you're not planting, that bare soil dries out, loses moisture, and loses life. What happens if we integrate trees instead? When it's not planting season yet, trees grow and protect your soil. In the meantime, they hold in moisture and keep microbial life active. And here's the key. When you need to plant something that requires sun, you simply prune. The light comes in exactly when you need it. Shade crops thrive under a closed canopy. Sun crops are planted when you open the canopy. You control the amount of light by adjusting the pruning. This dynamic prevents your soil from being bare all year round. It keeps it fertile, alive, and constantly regenerating. But many people perceive that having trees to prune requires a lot of time. Most people believe that having trees in cultivation is more work because you have to prune, head branches, and climb the trees. But what do you prefer? Standing in the shade pruning, or crouching in the sun removing weeds, or spraying chemicals that harm your health? When you prune a tree and put that biomass on the ground, you are covering the soil. This covering causes much fewer weeds to grow, and you no longer need to be constantly weeding. The same biomass loosens the soil, keeping it moist and loose. You no longer need to till it. You can simply sow directly with a pick or hoe. As it decomposes, this organic matter fertilizes naturally. You save on fertilizers. Healthier soil means healthier plants. You save on pesticides. All the time you save, you can invest in pruning trees, more comfortable, in the shade and without having to bend over. This is exactly what happens in nature. When a tree falls, a clearing opens up and fast-growing crops appear while young trees develop. Trees definitely save work, but there is something that must be understood, and that is that not all trees are useful loads. I was about to spend more than $200 on eucalyptus seeds to cover just 1,000 square meters. Eucalyptus is excellent for biomass and regrows perfectly after each pruning. But I realized something that changed everything. In my area there were species, but in many cases they surpassed eucalyptus, and above all, their seeds can be obtained for free in nature. That is the key. When choosing species for your agroforestry garden, you have to look at 4 critical things. First, ease of reproduction and low cost. Their seeds can be found for free in nature, or they are easily reproduced by cuttings. Second, they should regrow easily after each pruning. Eucalyptus trees are used because they regrow vigorously after each cut, but species such as Gliricidia or guayao also did perfectly. Third, high biomass production. Elephant grass, which is easily available in many tropical places, is said to be able to generate up to 53 tons per hectare per year. This is like feeding your cattle. But instead of feeding cows, we feed the microorganisms in the soil. The key is to combine different types of growth. Apical species such as yaroba, yagrumo or upward growing, shrub species such as guazuma or guayuyo that occupy the spaces below, and herbaceous plants such as titonia for quick coverage. You can even combine plants with different types of photosynthesis such as alquatira that withstands drought thanks to its CAM photosynthetic metabolism that allows it to open its stomata at night and thus reduce water loss. With this, we take advantage of every centimeter of vertical and horizontal space, more biomass, more natural fertility, and practically zero initial investment. Now that we have seen some interesting species for our garden, would you like to know the models that I have seen that work best? Check this out. Which of these 3 models do you think can give you 2 to 10 times more harvests by watering only half? Model 1. The protective perimeter. This is the simplest. It consists of surrounding your garden with a line of highly varied plants. This gives you more biodiversity, pollinators, natural pest control, and works as a windbreak. Very good as an initial improvement on a conventional garden. But the problem is that it does not generate enough biomass to cover the entire area, and you will need to keep bringing in external inputs from outside. Model 2. Lines every 6 meters. Here we improve everything. Instead of just the perimeter, you put lines of trees every 6 meters throughout the land. You can intersperse species that have more apical growth every 2 meters with more shrubby species. The key is strategic pruning. Just before the rains end to prepare for regrowth, and after the first rains of the year, you chop everything you prune finely and leave it in contact with the ground. This is what we call shredded or chopped for meal wood. The data is incredible. In tomatoes, this system generates between 900 and 1,000% more productivity. In corn, you go from 1 to 4 times per hectare, and the best thing is that you reduce irrigation by half. Model 3. The biomass multiplier. If you really want to optimize biomass production, try this. Add interspersed rows of species such as elephant grass or tithonia between the tree lines. Now you have 3 sources of biomass: the trees that you prune once or twice a year, and the grass and tithonia that you cut every month or 2. The procedure is simple. When planting season arrives, you prune everything drastically. You take advantage of this massive influx of light to plant your crops. As they grow, all that biomass protects the soil and becomes compost. You can plant turmeric, ginger, or pineapple among the trees, which like the shade. The golden rule is simple. The more biomass you generate, the less annoying work. No more weeding, no more buying compost, no more pest problems. The soil builds itself and becomes more fertile every year. As you can see, trees are key. Without them, we cannot survive as a species. The proof is in the pudding and seeing the benefits for yourself. Understanding and applying all this can be a bit overwhelming at first. Ever since I started studying agroecology 13 years ago, I have always had new questions, but each answer has led me to discover that nature already has all the solutions we need. We just have to learn to read its language and work with it, not against it. So if you are interested in continuing to learn, subscribe, and you can also visit our Patreon. We have exclusive content there, and if you have any questions or want to contribute something, see you in the comments. A hub.